Hey everyone, welcome back to Outside the Box. This is our first episode for the 2019 school year. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about using podcasts in your classroom. Our standards focus on using nonfiction text to teach students, but I know that it's sometimes a struggle to get our students to actually sit down and read nonfiction. We need to meet our students where they are and get creative to find new ways to help them grow. And podcasts allow us to use nonfiction text in a different format that's a lot more interesting for our students. A lot of podcasts use a storytelling format instead of the dry format that some of our traditional nonfiction has, and that makes it a lot more appealing to our students. How you use the podcasts in your classroom really just depends on what you want to accomplish. So, for example, if you just want to review information with a bell ringer type activity, you could use a shorter podcast. There are a lot of podcasts that are about 10 minutes or less that would be great for a bell ringer. If you're introducing a totally new topic to your students, you could use a longer podcast that gives students a little bit deeper dive into the content. You can also decide how you want your students to listen to podcast episodes. Do you want them to listen on their own and come up with ideas before talking to their classmates? Or would you rather have them listen in small groups and have conversations while they're listening to form their opinions? Regardless of how you decide to use podcasts, I think that they're a great tool that your students will really enjoy using. If you're interested in trying out podcasts with your class, I do already have some generic worksheets that'll go along with any podcast, and I'd be happy to share those with you. There are a lot of great podcasts out there that would work for really any of our content areas. If you look in the description of this video, I've linked a list in a Google Doc just to give you a few ideas. A lot of the podcasts on the Google Doc could really work with any content area. For example, there's a podcast that's dedicated to TED Talks, and I really like the Stuff You Should Know podcasts, and there's just a lot of others that are relevant for really any class. One of my favorite podcasts is a history podcast called Stuff You Missed in History Class by How Stuff Works. These episodes are usually 5 to 10 minutes and give the basics of historical events plus a little bit of trivia about the event. There are a lot of podcasts out there that deal with history, politics, economics, news, and true crime. English is another subject where a lot of these podcasts could be relevant just because of the storytelling nature of the podcasts. There are a few others that aren't necessarily just storytelling that I found, like Classic Poetry and Grammar Girl, and these are more focused on developing those specific ELA skills. I'm sorry, math teachers, I haven't listened to any of the math podcasts, but I have found a few that look like they would be helpful. A couple of examples are Math Tips, Math for Primates, and Freakonomics Radio. Science is another one that has just a lot of different episodes and podcasts that you can choose from, especially since forensic science and investigations have become really popular on podcasts. I've also found several that are about just general science topics or specific fields, and those are all just listed in the Google Doc for you. So again, I think podcasts are really a great way to connect with our students and help them get involved with nonfiction text in a format that's just a little bit more fun for them and a little bit more relatable. So if you do decide to try this in your classroom and you would like those worksheets that I have, just send me an email and I'll get those to you. And if you have any questions or ideas, I would love to hear them. And thank you guys so much for listening and have a great weekend.